Good.
Click mine.
Let's.
Testing. Oh wait.
What? Yeah, it's all sorts of weird right now. You're
What?
muted.
You don't talk. Oh, now I'm.
There you go.
Okay. It wasn't working a second
No,
ago.
well, we had this set up for a whole different event yesterday,
We did.
and we
Forgot.
yeah, and I totally forgot that I had done that. So I had it all sorts of.
We had to flip everything around and.
I'm not even sure. I'm hoping at this point that it's somewhat close. I think it is.
Oh, and then you had to change all of the mixer stuff for the voice, so
I did.
you might
Yeah.
sound like a Mickey Mouse right
I
now.
very well could sound like Mickey Mouse. That'd be interesting. It'd be entertaining if nothing else.
I don't particularly like this format because you can't see. I guess if
They changed it.
oh
They updated it. That was part of the reason when they. So sidetracked. I don't know. You guys are probably, if anyone's watching at this point, the Facebook Live system is completely different than it used to be. So when we started back doing this, the system itself actually was.
hi Gina.
Hi, how are you? The system itself was the old system or the new system. So we elected to not use the new system.
Hold on,
Uh-oh.
it wasn't
Did I
attached.
lose one?
No.
So anyway, we elected to not use a new system because it wasn't working right.
and now we're forced.
You don't have a choice. This is kind of like 5G all over again. Like
Oh,
they're
great.
telling you what we're doing. This is it. You are required to use this. And now, well, there it is. We're using it. Yeah.
And it like skips, like it's weird, like it bounces. So, anyways,
It does.
we weren't prepared
We weren't ready at all for the new system.
per
and-
usual.
Right. Yeah. This is kind of typical about things
Which
around
is kind of
here.
the theme tonight.
Yeah.
Unprepared.
Unprepared. We have no idea what we're even doing right now.
I
Not a clue.
didn't prepare anything
No.
because I procrastinated. I didn't do anything yesterday because really Thursdays end up being like a day that we don't have to do. Like I'm still working a little bit from home. So I kind of just did that. And then I didn't want to do anything yesterday. And then today I ended up really busy. And then it was 5:30. And I have no idea what.
And I've been doing everything except for this. So the draft is on right now. For those of you that are watching or not watching, I'm going to try to see if I can get it to pull up.
Is it still on?
Yeah, it's still going.
Oh, I thought it was over.
NFL
I thought
draft.
it
I'm going to
just
see if
ended.
I can get it to pull up live. And
Well, people
I don't know.
can probably
Are
watch
there-
it on their TV.
is anyone on here fans of the NFL? Like, have a team that you're just diehard, you're watching the draft? I'm curious because my mood went from absolutely in the clouds yesterday to absolutely in the dumps in a matter of one pick in the
And
NFL
it's been
draft.
like that pretty much since.
I can't get over it. I am so pissed about what Green Bay did yesterday. You guys are morons. Not that Green Bay's listening right now, but if you are, you guys suck.
There has to be like a different behind the scenes.
There's
plan.
nothing behind the scene. That is the biggest joke. Okay, we were seriously one game away from the Super Bowl, and you go and get a backup that's not even going to be good for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Backup
are you
quarterback.
thinking? Yeah, this is the most ridiculous thing. And I'm sitting here, and there's that kid, Jalen Hurts, that just got picked right before we went on doing this. That kid would have been just as good, if not better, than that Love kid out of Utah. You could have waited, not traded up. That's a smack in the face to Aaron Rodgers.
Well, so when I was in my office working, I heard something, and I might not have heard the whole thing, but I heard that Aaron Rodgers didn't know, and that they did this totally without any consultation with anybody,
Okay,
right? Like it was
yeah, but there's two sides of that. One is it's none of Aaron Rodgers' business what the management's doing, right? Just like it's any employee, it's not anyone employee's business.
Hear that you're okay.
It's not any employee's business to know what ownership is doing, right? Ownership is ownership for a reason.
No, but if you're the quarterback, like the head guy,
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, well, look, here's
Steelers
the thing.
will take him.
Don't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers either soon or in the next offseason is asked to be he's asking to be traded away from Green Bay.
Because of this? Or just
Absolutely.
because he's frustrated in
so
general.
let me tell you the principle that they've set. Since Aaron Rodgers was drafted in 2004, they've selected 0 running backs, wide receivers, or tight ends in the first round.
So no support for him.
None.
Yeah.
None. But they go, their defense is something in like I want to say they have like 17 defenders. They've picked now 2 quarterbacks, right?
Mhm.
And they've picked an offensive lineman. I think it was like 3 offensive linemen. No wide receivers, no running backs, no tight ends. And everyone's screaming, oh, well, you got Jordy Nelson, you got Randall Cobb, you got Devontae Adams, you got all these guys in the second round. Okay, where are they at now?
Yeah.
You got Devontae Adams. Who's next? Anyway, this whole thing is driving me crazy. The NFL draft, I watch it every year. I love it. I do because I'm a huge football fan. I play fantasy football. I love fantasy football. I love my Green Bay Packers, even though they do some stupid shit. But this it just ticked me right
As
off.
soon as it happened, like it was like this enjoyable, like, yes, there's a little bit of sports back in the house, and it was just good. Like you were really looking forward to the draft.
Yeah.
Like it was just like you were watching the mock draft stuff during the day and like all of the interviews. Like you were so excited. As soon as that pick happened, it was every piece of air out of you was deflated.
Gone. And so let me tell you how it was even worse. So Packers historically do not trade up for anybody. And when they traded up from the 30th spot to the 26th spot, I went, hey, they're going to get our wide receiver or tight end. There's a couple tight ends left on the board. I thought, yes, we're going to go get our skill player for Aaron Rodgers. Man, we could do this next year. Like this could be what we need. And then they do that. They pick a freaking quarterback who nobody even knows. They had him ranked somewhere in like the 3rd or 4th round. Like it's just stupid.
And I guess his senior year was like his worst year too.
Yeah, he was
like
terrible.
He's coming off of like
Terrible.
his first year. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm trying to watch the rest of the draft and have an open mind. Maybe they know something about the second round, and I'm pretty sure Green Bay's up to pick like soon. I can't get the damn thing to pull up on the computer right now. Anyway, so yeah, now that I have my
there's
little
no like live draft that you can pull
I'm
up.
sure
and just
there is a
mute
live
it.
draft to pull up. I'm just not quick enough to do both things at the same time. So anyway, we have some Colts fans in the house. We got some Steeler fans in the house.
And then there's Bill.
And then he's a Cowboy fan.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't know how that happened or why. It's really an unfortunate circumstance. Gina, you didn't mention who your team was. But let me know how your teams did in the draft. I'm curious. I want to know how you guys feel.
What if she doesn't? I don't have a team. What if she doesn't? Actually, I have
Gina
a team
said,
now.
Yep. When I asked about people having a football team, she said, yep.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that was a response
They're on
to that.
59. Awesome. Thank you,
Okay.
Bridget. I'm going to see.
Bridget,
do you want to
can
help me
do
with
your
this?
play-by-play. What do you want me to help you with? You want me to help you with something with computers?
Yeah, just try to find here. Here's that.
Okay.
Okay. And on that one, see if we can pull up the draft and we can try to.
Okay. So you gave me the
Yeah.
keyboard to type,
Yes. And
but you have the mouse.
I do.
I feel like I'm missing an arm and you're using. Okay. What do you want me to do?
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm not really sure
I'm
how.
holding.
Yeah. So the Cardinals. Okay. That's good. You know what?
Better than the Cowboys.
It's better than the Cowboys. Yes. I kind of pulled for the Cardinals. I lived in Arizona for a little bit, so I do pull for them. And
Sean's the Seahawks.
yeah,
Oh.
I know, Sean.
Bridget Steelers and Sean's Seahawks.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really
Yeah.
have a team. I mean, I grew up as a 49ers fan, but that was when I was like a kid. And then,
Not allowed in this house.
yeah, I just didn't really have a team
Just
because I
kidding.
played fantasy and that's what I focused on. But I do have to say the Raiders are coming to Vegas. And as much as I don't want to be a Raiders
Right.
fan, it's kind of hard to not be a Vegas sports fan in general. But that pick that happened yesterday, was it Ruggs?
I
Riggs?
think
third?
so. Rings the third. I
Oh
thought
man,
Ruggs-
his story.
it was
I
Ruggs
just
the
was
third.
like, I just love him already. I like want to be a fan just because of him.
Right. Yeah.
can't remember his name
And
right
that's
now.
one thing that's kind of cool about this draft, the way they're doing it. They're doing a lot more personal stories with it, which is kind of cool to see that side of these guys. You don't really see too much of that. However, with
Ruggs.
with the Las Vegas thing, I hate the Raiders, but I will probably pull for them. Like,
It's kind of, I think, going off of if they would have come here after, I mean, if they would have come here before the Golden Knights,
Right.
it would have been different. But I think
Yeah.
watching the city rally behind the Golden Knights,
well,
I
that's
have,
the
I
reason.
have hope.
Well,
I
but,
have hope.
that's the reason I don't like them, because here's what happened. Let me tell you what happened. So the NHL said, we're going to take a chance on Las Vegas, and they became successful immediately, like right now. And everybody in this town got behind the Golden Knights. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, even people who are not fans of hockey, like myself, jumped on that bandwagon because it was cool. It's Vegas. It's their first pro sports team. We were jumping on that bandwagon because it was something that we could all unite behind.
Well, and it was after October 1.
It was before October 1, but
Well,
October
I
1
mean,
happened
yes.
the first season.
Well,
Right.
Right. I mean, the season didn't even start till the beginning of October.
Right. But for the
So-
first time in NHL history, they sold out an award ceremony because the draft was
Right.
happening.
But that they used to, yes. Okay.
Right.
I
So-
also think that we just didn't have any teams here.
Right.
And we're a big little city. So, like, when you
Right.
take 2.3 million people and you now have a sports team, we're small enough of a town in size that it makes an impact. You
It
feel
does.
it and see it everywhere.
Right. Okay. But here's the reason why
It's hard.
the NHL or the NFL screwed up, because what happened was they saw success in the NHL, and then they were like, oh, we want to capitalize on that momentum.
You don't
and
think there were talks before that? I don't
There've
remember.
been talks for years, but they weren't.
Nothing serious.
Goodell kept saying over and over again, we're never going to put one in Vegas. We're never going to put one in Vegas. Gambling, 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 blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it never happened. Well, then all of a sudden the NHL pulls the trigger and it's a huge success. And then they come in and they're like, oh, well, we want to play too. And it put a bitter taste in a lot of locals' mouths where it's like, oh, you're just trying to
Oh.
piggyback on the NHL success.
That and it was the Raiders.
Right. And not many people are fans of the Raiders,
Or the Raiders
outside
fans.
of California.
Yeah.
That which isn't true anymore because so many of them are migrants. They travel well.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's
But
kind
I
of
think like watching, I don't remember exactly, but the whole Ruggs thing, like when that happened, I was like, okay, cool. Like just to have like a new player to kind of get behind. So, I was just about to read the comments and you clicked over it. So,
sorry.
you're going live. Okay.
Yeah, I think if I can mute this thing, we could actually watch it live.
It
We
looks
are
like
currently
it's
on pick
muted.
59. It might be a little bit delayed, but that's cool. It's muted. All right, well, that's good. Now I can maybe try to multitask, which is never a good thing when I'm in the room. We should probably,
Especially when you're grumpy about Green Bay picks.
yeah, I was pretty foul yesterday when it came to that. I can't understand not giving Aaron a chance. I know, Gina, I don't like the Raiders either, but it's going to be hard not to.
Root for the hometown.
Like,
The
I don't
first
necessarily
football
want to
team.
root for Oakland. Like I'm not gonna, or Las Vegas. That's weird. It's gonna be hard to get used to that.
Yeah. Well, and it's the first football team here too. So it's not like, I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pull for them and get a tattoo of them, but if Green Bay's not playing them,
Right.
and
Well, we'll probably go to some games
right,
too because it's here.
'Cause it's
It's
here.
really close.
right,
I mean, stadium's only like 20
20
minutes
minutes away. Yeah, not
You get
bad.
an Uber.
Anyway, so tell me your draft stories, guys. I want to hear your thoughts on your team's draft selections thus far. Where do you guys feel this has gone? Because I am still in a foul mood.
I feel like this is your therapy session.
It kind of is. It's turned into that. It wasn't intentionally. We came in with no plan. And then,
I had
of
a
course, as soon as I
backup.
walk in the door, and right before that thing closes, I hear something about Green Bay and Jordan Love. And I'm like, oh, it's just my blood pressure's a little high right now.
I just sit
It's-
here and smile at you.
I know it just drives me crazy. It's so stupid. Like, what are we doing? Like, you have a chance right now, and you're gonna waste it on some guy out of Utah.
So why don't you just change teams?
No,
I know. I'm just kidding.
no, that doesn't make any sense.
I was just kidding.
Yeah, just
I
start.
was just poking the bear.
Yeah, don't do that. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so yes, Bridget, you guys are desperate need of a quarterback.
Who?
The
Steelers?
Steelers, yeah. And that
You have to remember, other people can't read these the same time we can.
right. So that's the other thing with this is it's funny to see the fans' perspective of what's needed versus like the GMs and what they think is needed.
That's why, like, I'm trying to give benefit of the doubt that there's like some behind the scenes like plan with this Love kid that like maybe he's going to be part of a trade, or maybe there's some, I don't know, like some bigger plan that we don't know about.
Right. Well, here's the thing that
Just
needs to
want
be
you to
kind of, as far as the Love thing goes with
simmer.
Green Bay, and I'm gonna try not to harp on this for much longer, but it's really hard. Okay, if you look at it in the bigger picture, in the overall context of the situation, this is exactly what happened to Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers in 2004. It's the same thing.
Okay.
The difference is Aaron Rodgers fell from what they thought would be the number 1 overall pick to the 23rd overall pick, which is when Green Bay is like, well, yeah, like you fell all the way down. We're going to take you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's different than trading up
right
to get your heir apparent. That's 2 different things. They're similar in the fact that they both were in the first round and they're both in the mid-20s or mid to early 20s, and they're around the same time in their careers. Brett Favre was in his 16th pro career or pro season. Aaron Rodgers is in his 16th pro season. It's similar in that aspect.
Been there, done that.
But it's not similar in the fact that you traded up and got rid of an optional pick in the 4th round to go get this guy. You know, you made it very clear to Aaron that he has to quote
clock is
Skip Bayless this morning. He says your clock is ticking.
Oh, I was going to say that, and I didn't even know he said that.
Yeah, so
he's psychic. Bucks get Drink and Brady.
Get Drink and Brady?
What?
She means Gronk and Brady.
No.
Damn autocorrect. Yeah.
I was shocked that Gronk is even coming back because he was so.
Yeah.
He was, when he retired, he was trying really hard to not badmouth everything, but he made it very clear that his body was sore and he didn't love the game anymore, and he was just kind of done, and he wanted to take a look at other things. Clearly, it was a Patriot issue more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, now that he's had some time away,
right.
I didn't see him coming back.
Well, the Patriots are a garbage organization in the fact of their player care. Like, they don't give a damn about their players. It's clear that's something that's not new. That's been around for a long time.
Gronk was saying that, like, his body was tired. Like, he was worn out.
That's not new.
I thought he had a singing career after Masked Singer.
Oh God!
I thought for sure
sing.
that he
can't sing. Oh my God!
Maybe that's
he's
why
entertaining. For sure, he's entertaining. But
he came out of retirement because he realized he was such a bad singer.
Right.
He had nothing else to do.
So, yeah, Gronk coming back doesn't surprise me. If you look at the same thing that Jason Witten did, he went in the booth for a year, came back, went and played again.
Do you think it's just the love of the game?
I think
he hopes that he
what
gets
happens is they take that year off and their bodies feel better. And they're like, you know what? I could do this again. I think I'm okay.
That's like having a baby. Like, we go through all of it and then we go through labor and we'll never do it again.
Right.
But then you forget and then you want another kid. I mean, I don't.
That's good.
But that's what it reminded me of.
I hope you don't. Anyway,
we have enough of those.
Yeah, he did. He went and wrestled WWE, which is fake. Like, I mean, they bounced around. Gronk. Gronk is actually the heavyweight champion, or he was
Gronk
2 weeks ago.
The heavyweight champion.
It's so stupid. That WWE thing's such garbage. I don't know whoever.
I grew up on it. I just don't.
So stupid.
It's entertainment.
It's all it is. They bounce off plastic.
I freaking love Gronk though. I think
Gronk's
he's hilarious.
Awesome. Yeah.
He just seems like such a good, down to earth guy.
So yeah, Tampa's going to be interesting this year. I'm more interested. So for me, the Tampa and New England split thing with that, I'm more interested to find out, is Tom Brady really that good?
Yeah.
Or is he really a system quarterback? And by virtue of that answer, we'll know the answer of what New England really was, right? Was it New England that created Tom Brady, or is it the system?
Right.
Right. So we'll know. And we'll find out a lot, I think, this season, whether it's one or the other. To me, Tom Brady's not a good quarterback. He's a system quarterback. And people argue, he's got all the championships, he's got all these rings.
He's had good people around him too.
He's had not Nah, I don't know if he's had good people around him. Gronk is good. He's a Hall of Fame tight end.
How do you win that many Super Bowls without having more than one
Well,
system quarterback?
but here's the thing. So over the course of time, like you can name players that when he first started winning back, like I don't know, whenever that was. He's been in the league for 20 years now, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Whenever he won his first ones, right after Bledsoe went down, whatever. Anyway, so when he went back and he was playing on the defense, or had a defense to play with, there's a lot of big names on the defensive side of the ball. And he also went through wide receivers. There were a lot of good guys that come in and out of the system. But I mean, Julian Edelman's no joke. The guy's caught 1,000 yards, year after year,
Right.
minus his injuries. Gronk's no joke. Randy Moss was no joke. Unfortunately, Josh Gordon and his substance abuse issues hindered his career. But Josh Gordon would have been a Hall of Fame type wide receiver.
There's Aaron Hernandez.
And it just, it for whatever reason, Aaron Hernandez, that's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
Anyway, so who knows? I don't really know.
Yeah. Bridget said that Miami and Tampa will have all new teams, which Tampa
Right.
for sure.
Well, Miami had
picked
3
up a
picks.
couple.
Miami has 3 picks in the first round, and they got that Tua Tungo. I'm not even going to try it.
Tua Gunga.
Tua, yeah.
Wacha.
So Tua,
His first name's longer than his last name.
in my opinion, had Tua not had the injury problems he had in college, would have been the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because
Even being a first round with having a broken hip at that age, there's a lot of things that can happen with
Right.
that. Like they're gonna have to protect the shit out of him. They will.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter, even if it's
so
in a
that's
few
what-
years. It's just an easier.
right.
chance
Well,
to
even
break.
so, what ended up happening was there after they picked Tua at number 6, their next pick was an offensive tackle. So it's to help protect him,
Yeah.
So they're keeping that in mind that moving forward, they're going to have to definitely keep him upright.
Well, and they were saying too that he's going to have to play not so aggressively as well. Like it's a whole different type of play,
Right.
where he takes a lot of chance runs, and he's just not going to be able to do that.
Right. So yeah, there's that. So we'll see how that
Did
goes.
it kick us off?
I don't
No.
I don't know.
Will somebody tell us if it's still up and running?
It says the
'Cause it went
video's
black.
done, but it says it's still recording the live video.
Okay.
I don't understand what just happened.
Good old.
This is why we didn't like the new system. This is what they forced us into, and now we're required to use it. So
And now it's saying it's not working.
now it's not working.
Oh.
So anyway, so Miami's completely rebuilt.
Bengals got a few too.
Well, Bengals ended up with Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is definitely he's going to be a good quarterback. Cincinnati's problem is they've never been able to put everything together at the same time. They've either had prolific offenses or prolific defensive. They've never had both or even mediocre at the same time. That's part of where Cincinnati struggled. I don't know how that's going to play out. Burrow, I think, has potential. He's a good kid. He's a good quarterback. But what does that mean long term?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and it can't. I mean, I guess you could be so good that you could just be a 1-man team, but you have to have the rest of it too, or at least some kind of support. Green Bay on the clock.
Green Bay's on the clock. So
Okay.
apparently Tennessee's already picked. So our little video feed's a little behind, but that's all right. Anyway, so earlier, let's see, who was it? The Colts added a receiver for
We could be
Rivers,
quite a
but
bit behind.
they took another running back. Okay, so what's weird to me is Phillip Rivers is the quarterback for the Colts.
That is weird.
That's strange. I thought when Phillip was done in San Diego, I thought that was it. I thought he was going to quit and just move on with his 13 kids. He's got a lot. Is it 13?
How do you go?
12?
I don't know.
He's got a lot of kids. I don't know how many he's
I don't
got.
know how you
But
go from San Diego to
He's got a lot of kids.
Indy.
Anyway, so it's weird hearing that, first off. He definitely needed help wide receiver wise. I'm not sure who else is there on the wide receiver, because I don't think they really have anybody of note. Maybe a couple of younger players. I don't really remember off the top of my head. However, Mack and Hines maybe as a duo were fine, but if I'm not mistaken, that running back that they took, and I'd have to go back and look, but if I'm hearing right, that kid's a 3-down back. Like he can fill in any situation. So I think I think he will have a huge upside for the Colts. I don't see Mack and Hines even both making the roster this year. They're either trade one away or cut one of them. They need more. Yeah. See, but even Hilton. Okay, so even T.Y. Hilton, I wouldn't consider him a tier one wide receiver. I mean, maybe he is. I mean, he's. Oh man, that's tough. I think he's borderline.
I'm just listening. I don't know. And I think it's cute. Bridget's like, who do you guys think will be the best offense this year? Like, you mean Jesse? Who do you think will be the best offense this year?
That's a.
I just hope whoever I end up with on my fantasy team is the best that year.
The best offense this year. That's such a trap question, though. Because here's the thing: is
it could be Brady. Could be.
Brady has a lot of firepower down there. So he does. A lot of that will depend on the health for not only him but Gronk, because Gronk's going to be a part of it.
Well, and the team dynamic of them jiving.
Yeah, but he's got some weapons down there in Tampa on the wideout position.
But they have to jive. You could have good players that aren't connecting.
Yeah. Let's see.
And what else?
Green pick is in.
The pick's in, but it hasn't been announced yet.
To get announced. Anyway, top offense. I'm trying to run through some of them. I think Arizona has a chance. Arizona has a chance to be one of the top.
Yes.
So there's a chance with oh man, I'm drawing a blank. That trade they made that was absolutely stupid for the Houston Texans. What was that kid's name that came over? They traded him
Bob
for nothing. Sure. That's
Chris.
Not Bob.
Davis. I don't know.
AJ Dillon.
Packers just took AJ Dillon running back.
We don't need a running back. We don't need a freaking running back.
But you just were complaining that they hadn't picked any wide receivers, running backs, or tight
ends in
the
first round. And then they go in the second round and pick up a backup running back. We have a running back. Oh my God, these guys are such morons. This is
what
so
position
stupid.
Should they have drafted?
Wide receiver or tight end? They should do 7. There's 7 rounds in this draft. All 7 should be wide receiver or tight end. All of them. We don't. Okay, so we might need an offensive tackle. Shoot, you can put another one. We have guys you can fill in. Like we need wide receivers and tight end. We have one.
I really wish I could make a phone call for you.
So annoying.
I could be Karen and talk to the manager.
Well, hopefully AJ Dillon can run a route and they put him on. Oh my God, that's so annoying. Anyway. So who?
It's gonna be a long night.
It's gonna be rough. Okay, you guys are gonna have to help me remember who this was. Who?
Do you want me to Google?
Who was the guy that got traded to Arizona that shouldn't have been traded from Houston? I don't know how I'm drawing a blank. This guy's a stud, like an absolute stud wide receiver.
Football player traded from where?
From Houston to Arizona. I can't remember his name. Anyway, so that offense is going to look pretty special next year. They traded David Johnson for him too. DeAndre Hopkins. That guy is a beast. That he's if he's not the number 1 wide receiver, he's 1A, 1B. Like he's up there. The dude is an absolute stud.
So what was the point? You're saying what? What about him?
Well, she asked which one's going to be the best offense in the NFL next year, and I think Arizona has a chance. They have a lot of pieces in place. They got Fitzgerald on one side, they got Hopkins on another. They got that.
How old is Fitzgerald now?
He's like 75. I don't know. He's up there, but he's a stud. Did you know he has more? Listen to this stat. This is crazy. He has more tackles in his career than dropped passes. And he's a wide receiver.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's insane. Like if that doesn't tell you that he's not one of like an elite player, and he's not young, like not anymore.
Oh, you just said he's 72.
He's 70 something. He's probably got a walker out there. And you know what the sad part is? He's probably still faster than half the NFL.
Okay, dead silence because we were reading a comment that says, "I'm curious if the 6-foot virus rule makes 100,000 seat stadium into a 30,000 seat stadium." I don't know if that's going to work.
Well,
so you have to go in
here's
and
what's
out.
a little crazy about the whole stadium situation that I find fascinating. Baseball and NHL are trying to put together a schedule where they use 4 stadiums and play 3 or 4 games a day.
Right.
And rotate players. And I don't know. They didn't mention fans.
No fans. No, it was no fans, and they just play in the one
play their
stadium.
game. Right. Okay.
One or two,
so
three
I didn't hear
stadiums.
the whole fan thing, but
yeah.
So
that way that at least televising and they still have a season.
Right. Which most of their money, like if you know anything about these things, most of their money comes from TV advertisements. It doesn't come from ticket sales.
You wouldn't know that going to a Vegas game because it's expensive as shit. So
right.
They have to be making their money a little bit that way. But yeah, I mean, even just having sports on, I think having sports on TV right now would be helpful.
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful in a lot of ways. But I don't see that as a near future thing. I think if it goes past May, then you'll start looking at that as a reality.
What do you think is going to happen with hockey? Do you
they're
think
going to shorten the season? I think they're going to end
it?
up having to end the season and then start the playoffs. They might do one week
through the summer and then not have that summer break before.
Well, remember the Stanley
preseason?
Cup. Stanley Cup doesn't end until May or June.
Yeah, it's like June. Yeah,
first week or second week of June.
Right. That's what I mean, though, is that they have from middle of June, let's say, for the ones that are in it the longest, and then you have preseason that starts. I mean, it's not much of a break in hockey, anyways. But if you end up moving, I guess this is the break now.
It starts in October, right?
Well, regular season is October,
right? The preseason in September. But if you get rid of, let's say,
end of August.
Well, like NFL right now is talking about removing one preseason game and adding that 4th preseason game as a regular season game.
Oh,
so it'll be 17 weeks versus 16 weeks. They've also expanded the playoff thing, so they've added another team on each side. So there's that. But if you do and you were to remove some of those preseason games, and I think they only do like 3 weeks. Anyway,
I mean, if they just
if you removed it down to 2 or 1, right? Mm-hmm. And so that would give you the same time off, but you just move everything forward a little bit. No matter what happens,
the time off now, like how is that going to affect their game too? You know,
I don't know. Well, it helped us. I'll tell you, it helped Vegas to have this thing happen because we had Mark Stone out, Max Pacioretty was out, Alex Tuch was injured. I think there was another one that got hurt too.
But having this much time off and then going back and having to do playoffs will be interesting to see.
Yeah,
they're going to do well because of the rest, or that's going to be a complete shit show because they're just not in sync.
Yeah. Right. It's gonna be hard to tell how it plays out. It's good as far as the rest goes because now you got everyone healthy. But I'll tell you, Max Pacioretty,
I can't see it happening. It's already going to be May. The idea of them coming back, finishing season, and then going into the postseason. Can you imagine that happening in May?
Right.
I just can't see it.
I don't know. I think they can. I think it'll happen. And I think what'll end up happening was they'll start it as soon as they can. And they'll try to fit either the remainder of regular season, maybe not a full 82, but a remainder of it. And then they'll squeeze in the playoffs. And as soon as the playoffs are done, they'll go on an off season and it'll be a shortened off season, but they'll extend the off season by removing preseason games is the way I think it's going to happen.
I mean, could they do like how the school systems are doing where like the 4th quarter is not counting and they're just taking the 3rd quarter grades basically? Like, could they just end the season at what it is right now and say like, hey, this is who's going to playoffs based on today's standings?
That's probably what will end up happening, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing, though. Max Pacioretty was quoted as saying that this will be the most contested Stanley Cup in history because everyone is rested. There are no injuries. There are no excuses. Everyone who can play is going to be 100%. So you're not going to have guys limping into the playoffs. You're not going to have guys that are 50-50 to go. You got guys that are home rested that are going to go into the playoffs.
Which could that make them a little more prone to some injuries because they haven't been warmed up? But so Bridget says she thinks they're done this year. Which that'd be interesting if they just didn't have a Stanley Cup. Like just no, like
How-
just
Yeah, I don't
hey,
know.
who
I don't
won
think
the
they can
Stanley
do-
Cup in 2020? Nobody. Coronavirus won.
I hope that's not true.
I know.
I hope they don't do that. Like that.
I would rather them just take the standings as they are and go into
They need to do a 4-stadium
maybe even a
playoff.
condensed playoff. Which I don't even know how they do that. Anyways, we went into
Yeah,
hockey.
I don't know how we ended up. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I think it would be extremely disappointing if they didn't at least try to award a winner.
Yeah.
That would be sad. I mean, it does, but here's the thing. I am saying that from a biased position too, because we're number one in the standings going into this thing. Like we had all the momentum. We were doing fine.
We were number one overall.
in our conference.
Yeah.
Or
Division?
yeah, I think it was, I don't know. We were ranked, we were a 1 seed, and I can't remember if it was division or conference. But no, definitely not conference. We were number one in our division. Yeah.
I
it
can
was
Google
division.
that too.
While
you go into other sports.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of issues with trying to continue that. I mean, as a fan, I want to see it happen. As a human, I want them to do whatever's right by the humans involved. You know,
How do you think this is going to affect football going into next year, or even over the summer?
That's a whole nother conversation that's been had with throughout the last couple of days with this draft. Like you have these quarterbacks and wide receivers that are not going to have the same OTAs and training camps as they would before because of this shutdown. You can't gather. So how are you going to get your wide receivers and quarterbacks on the same page? You can't throw the ball anymore. You can't have those people, and you can't put a group together. So how are you going to follow the guidelines and still practice?
But there's some places that are still doing the, or going back to now loosening up a little bit instead of the stay at home.
Right.
It's going to no more than 10. So you could, in theory, throw a football around with no more than 10 people.
Right. Well, Tennessee
Can't run entire.
I don't know if Tennessee did it yesterday or today. But
Which-
Tennessee released it back to the 50% capacity. So they're opening things back up.
Where is this?
Tennessee. They're opening things back up, but they're only allowing 50% capacity. So for example, a lot of the smaller restaurants, let's say you seat 100 people, they're only allowing 50 in, and they're required them to be spaced out, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work.
I don't know, but Tennessee's
doesn't
going to
make
try.
any sense. Well, no. Good for Tennessee.
So we'll see how
Vegas
that goes.
was number one in the division, in the Western
Number one in the
Conference. I mean,
in the conference.
Western
Wait,
Conference.
no, go down.
Oops.
Because St. Louis, that's different. Same conference, different division. No, see, St. Louis is 84
I don't even
points.
know if this is updated.
It is.
Hold on.
No.
Because then I clicked on this one.
Right, that's wild card. That's
Here,
not.
you do
yeah,
that one.
hold on. So, oh shit. Yeah.
The whole
So there.
app, I think
This
I have
is
to
the
update
Pacific
it
Division,
anyways.
and this is Central Division, and St. Louis is 94 points. We have 89. So we're number one in our division.
No, there's another tag on. Never mind. Still number 8. So even if it ended
That's
now,
8 in the league.
I understand that. But if it ended right now, we're not like Vegas isn't anything important. It's number 8.
In the league. What are you
I
talking
understand
about?
that, but you were saying like if it just ended right now, you wanted it to be if it would
Because they're
end because they're number
conferences.
1.
Yes, in the conference.
I know, but for the Stanley Cup, I thought you were saying.
No. No one's gonna win
Why
the
are you
Stanley
in such
Cup.
an attitude with me?
No one's
I
gonna
just
win. The,
misunderstood you.
no one's gonna win the Stanley Cup based on regular
I thought you were
season
saying
standings. They're
we
not
were
gonna.
number 1 and would win the cup.
No, I'm saying as far as our standings going into the playoffs.
Okay, now
Right.
I understand you.
Right.
Communication
Yeah, I got to work on that. Still, you think after all this time I'd have it
and my
figured out.
active listening. Those are the two things.
Yeah, and
Your
it's a terrible
communication
combination
and
sometimes.
my active listening.
Right.
skills.
All right.
Doesn't work too well. It is so. Let me just say this really quick.
Huh?
It's freaking hot.
It is
All
hot.
of a sudden, it's not spring anymore, and we're creeping into summer,
Right.
and it's like
it is
90s outside. It's supposed to be like 100 degrees, and our upstairs was 85 degrees just
was.
now.
Yeah.
Our downstairs has to be 80. It's just
Right.
warm. So we turn on the air
it's-
conditioning. What is it? April 24th.
Well, and this is what the funny thing about
AC.
this happening right now. We've done this every year, and it's so funny how this this happens. And I've said it to you, and you used to
I know.
make fun of me. And then eventually you figured out that I wasn't wrong.
It's a story of everything.
Right.
I make fun of you, and then I realize, okay, maybe you're right.
Right. So, okay. So every year for the last, I don't know, 20 years, this same thing happens. The last week of April or the first week of May, it gets hot. It just does.
Yep.
And then you know what happens after that? It cools off for another week or 2, 10 days, whatever. It
Yeah.
cools off. And then everyone's like, oh my God, global warming, it's cold or whatever they say. They do all that garbage. And
it's
then,
hot again.
and then guess what happens? It gets hot again. Like
Yeah.
it happens
So this is what
every
it will
year.
get hot right now.
Yes.
We'll have another cool down, and then
Yes.
it will get hot.
Every year.
I
For
hate
20
summer.
years of being out
I'm
here,
with
this
you,
is what
Gina.
happens.
Gina, why do we live in the desert?
I agree.
I do love the winters, though.
I
God, I love the winters.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not a summer fan. I'm already sunburnt. Like,
Yeah, but that was because you chose to not put sunscreen on and sit outside for 6 hours without a shirt on. It's free will. You did that. No one else did.
however, in other parts of the world where I travel to, I could be out there for 17 hours and the sun doesn't even come out. So
Yeah, but you can still get sunburnt when there's cloud coverage.
you can. It's actually worse. I
And you
think.
can get bitten by a tick in other places.
Yeah.
We have like 4 flies out back, and I'm like, where did all these bugs come from?
Yeah. It's
We don't have many
they say
bugs.
earthquake weather. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I
I-
grew up with that too. And I
I-
think didn't we talk about that?
We've had that conversation.
Because I grew up thinking, being told that if it's really cold and then really hot and then cold again, that's earthquake weather because the ground is like expanding, contracting.
Wait,
So I always grew up saying
Yeah.
that too. I say that, and he thinks I'm stupid.
It-
He's like, "That's not a
because
real
it's
thing."
not real.
That's not real.
It's but
Just because you don't think it's real.
no.
Okay, I want facts. Like I need you to
The
Google
sun creates heat on the ground all the time. Like it's always
it. But
warming the
sometimes
ground
the
up.
ground is
It-
cold,
Yes, sometimes the ground is
and
cooler.
then it gets hot again.
Yes,
and
yes.
it contracts.
But do you
and
realize
expands.
in order for the core below the first foot of dirt to get any temperature change it's going to take a massive amount of heat. It doesn't happen.
I don't believe your science. I'm gonna have to look into it. This will be my.
Wait,
this
hold
is
on,
this
hold
will
on.
be what I look into.
You've heard of an underground refrigerator. Like if I don't have, like if I'm living off the grid and I dig a hole anywhere in the world, I could dig a hole 10 feet down and it's going to remain cold. Not cold, but cool.
Okay, what's that have to do with? Unless it gets
You're talking about
hot.
the core. You're talking about shifted
cores-
plates.
The earthquakes don't have to come from the core of the earth.
There are tectonic plates that are required to shift that are massive. They are thick,
Okay.
hundreds of feet, if not thousands of feet thick in some places.
Okay, you're right. I'm wrong.
So you're saying that the sun heats up the surface of the earth enough
I'm not
to
saying-
warm up.
Anything about the sun? I'm saying what I was told growing up
Yeah.
was that weather changes
How was science in
Equal-
the 40s?
earthquake. That's an ongoing joke in our
Science has
I'm
changed quite a bit in the
40.
last 100 years.
I'm not 72, which is the joke in the house because I'm the oldest one. How
I-
was
I
how was
normally
science
don't
in
park
the
that bus,
40s?
but I was driving it for sure.
Because you're grumpy as shit right now.
I don't have facts, but so hot cold quickly confuses the plate in the ground. It
Thanks,
confuses
Gina.
the humans who
It
think
confuses Jesse too. My son-in-law is an
Underground miner.
underground miner. He says it's the same temperature
Right.
year-round,
Yeah.
no matter how.
that 100%. The temperature, any depth underground, the temperature
Okay.
doesn't change.
So hey, relax a little. It's just something we were told growing up.
I'm not excited.
You are gonna grab onto anything right now because of your Green Bay anger. Take it out on tectonic plates and me and Gina.
I mean, when you're
Poor
wrong, you're
Gina
wrong.
and I.
Like it's just when you're wrong, you're wrong.
Look, I'm not saying
I didn't make it
that
up.
some scientist told me this when I was a kid. I'm just saying I grew up in Southern California being told
Yeah, but
But
if we
it's
believed
earthquake
everything
weather.
we believed growing up, we would be in trouble. Just saying. It'd be a different conversation.
for you for sure.
No. Anyway,
There's
Yeah.
all kinds of little
So-
things like that that pop up every once in a while where I'm like, oh, well, I always grew up with this. And this
Yeah.
is like just like almost like mythological or just tongue in cheek.
Right.
And you are like, that's not real. That's not true. And I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't care. I still got to eat my earthquake kit at the end of the school year that we
Right,
packed. Like, I
right.
don't-
Those earthquake kits were kind of cool though back in the day.
it's so weird to think that kids don't do that now. Oh, I wonder if they do that in California.
I don't know.
I guess I didn't
I
raise
don't-
any kids in
Does
California.
anyone have kids young enough in California or anywhere in the world that would do earthquake kits anymore?
Because we used to have to put those together with like Vienna sausages and like things
Yeah,
that wouldn't
that
go
would
bad.
last for the year.
Put your name on
Yeah.
it and they'd put it in one of those like storage bins out in the field. So
Yeah.
we will call it a myth. Okay.
right.
Just like this.
It's
like-
that's what we call folklore or like urban legends.
Or pretty much anything that I say because it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, your strong suit's not research.
No, my strong suit is
Oh, they
suit
still
is
do
that
it.
I don't care too much. So I just don't put as much passion into my answers as you do. This
Right.
is what I heard. This is what I saw. This is what I was
Yeah.
told. Knowing
Yeah, I saw her
There's
and was told a
probably
lot of things and look
not
yeah, that doesn't work.
100% truth to it.
No.
Because it's everything. So,
Right. Xandra says they still do the earthquake kids.
well,
Look-
especially, I mean, she's,
Yeah,
I feel like
she's in
there's a lot of
California.
earthquakes right there.
Well, they're
You
right.
get the mountains
Yeah,
and
well-
the desert.
I don't know how far. It's probably, I don't know, 50 miles, maybe not even that far. Behind their house is where that crack in the earth came. That was between Palm Springs out there.
Oh,
at the
which was
North
not
Ridge.
caused by the temperature change.
No, absolutely not. No, it definitely was not caused by temperature change. But that she lives pretty close to that, where that's at. I don't remember
I don't even
exactly.
know.
It's been, I don't know how many ever long since I've drove that road, but
So there's no such thing as earthquake weather.
no.
So, okay.
Well, I can give you an example
Yeah,
of
my
that.
whole childhood. I just wonder how many things I was lied to about. Like
Probably a
there's-
lot. Especially if they believed in earthquake weather.
Gina.
No,
Gina's
Bridget,
with me.
Bridget, don't. No, Bridget said, let's talk about Green Bay quarterback again. No, damn it, Bridget. No, I'm trying to not talk about it. Like I'm telling you right now, like my blood pressure is through the roof because of that. And it was the Landers quake.
Well, and I think like it probably wouldn't have bothered you quite as much if it wasn't something you were looking so forward to because of being locked in the house and everything's like it was just like your hope for something positive.
It was.
And then it just took a giant shit on you.
Look, I had the most optimism going into this draft because I literally thought we are one or two pieces away. I think we have the potential. Our defense is solid. They're sound. Top 10 next year. They're not worried about the defense. I think we're good there. But
why did Bridget bring this
but
up
we
again?
we don't have weapons. We have one running back who's a stud. They don't use him. They refuse to
Mhm.
use him. And we have one wide receiver who you can't just keep throwing the ball to one guy. Like you have to have another option. And we didn't do that. And we still haven't done that. Even now into the second round. Now we're in the third, so I don't know. Who knows? But you know what? They're gonna pick.
Do you have another pick? Does
and-
Green Bay have another pick in the third round?
We might have one. I don't one or two. I don't know. I didn't look at their picks going.
Did they
in.
do
I
the
didn't-
second and third round today?
Yeah, both rounds
Oh.
of the day. Yeah.
And then what's tomorrow then?
5th, 6th, and 7th rounds.
So they're going to do 3. Oh, I didn't realize that they
Yeah.
did. Oh, it's only 3 days. So I guess that makes sense, right? It's 3 days.
It's a 3-day
Okay.
draft. Right. Yeah. So I don't.
Landers.
It's so fun.
That's what
Yeah,
it's
the
called,
Landers.
The
quick.
Landers.
That was right. And the Landers one.
I'm
was
going to swap out Bridget. Bridget, you come here and just stay with him in quarantine
no,
and talk
no, no, no,
football.
no, no, no.
Just
Bridget
kidding.
will whoop my ass.
If you watch a dog poop, you'll get a sty in your eye. Is that a childhood thing too? I haven't heard that one.
I think at this point she's trying to. Maybe she's putting a hex on me right now. Like she's doing some voodoo magic or something.
Because you can't believe everything.
No, I know. But yeah, you clearly can't.
I'm trying to think of other things I was
She
told
grew
as a
up
kid.
with that one too.
Yeah, see?
Well, then I'm screwed because I literally just like I got off the phone with somebody I was talking to earlier. I came downstairs and I turned and looked outside and Mandy was pooping. So I'm screwed. I got a pink eye.
Have you ever had a
or
sty? Have you ever?
sty.
You've never had a sty then, because you seem
I'm-
thoroughly confused on sty versus pink eye.
Yeah, a sty is that thing on your
sty's-
eyelid, right?
It's like like a bump. You can get on the
Yeah,
top or bottom. It's almost like a
If I've
clogged
had one, I don't
pore.
remember.
I think you'd know. It's can be painful. Jay used to have them all the time when he was little. He
Yeah, I
had
remember you
from
talking about 'em.
allergies.
Yeah.
He has a scar on his eye because he had to have
Yeah,
eye surgery from it.
I don't remember
Gross.
that. I might have.
Yeah, it's like clogged ducts or something.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll never look at my dog poop again. I don't. It wasn't intentional. It just
I'm trying to think
There
of
she
like other
was.
things that like I mean you obviously you hear like growing up like don't stare at the sun, which that's true. I think. Who knows anymore? I don't know what's real. During eclipses. You can't stare at the sun.
yeah. Well,
I lost you for a
you
second.
did.
there.
I was trying to read.
I was trying to think of things that I was told as a kid that like
Well, staring at the sun's a stupid idea, unless you have one of those fancy telescopes that's
Right.
designed for it.
okay, so that's a true story.
Yeah, it burns.
That's not a
your-
myth.
No, that
Yeah,
Look,
Sandra, don't touch your butt and
pink
then your then your eye. Ew! And when you get pink eye, it's always like,
wait a minute.
where did I get
Well,
it
that
from?
ruins my night.
Touching your butt.
I
and
can't
then
touch
touching
my
your
butt and my eye. I do that every Friday night. Like that's the thing.
God, I'm not sleeping next to you.
It ruins everything. All my fun's out the window. I mean, that's way more fun than Green Bay picking a quarterback in the first round.
You'd rather have pink eye.
Yeah, I'd rather have pink eye. That's from Alan. Of course it
Oh,
is.
That's funny.
That's not surprising at all.
Gertie.
The Jets select Ashton Davis from Cal. Anyway, so I don't.
His safety.
So
Thanks for bringing up sports because it's way
Yeah.
better than what I had planned to talk about.
yeah, you had like some 21st date.
I
questions or
literally
something.
had nothing planned. So right before this, I Googled what should we talk about? And it came
Yeah.
up with like first date questions
Yeah,
and
we're long
conversation
past that.
starters. And I was just gonna go right with it.
You were.
I started asking him
I-
questions like da-da-da-da, and he just the eyebrows, you can see like the eyebrows go up and it's like, okay.
Yeah, whatever
And
you
then I
want
was
to do.
like, do you want to do
You
that?
have a tuck here.
And then oh, see, that's what I was messing with. It was like
Oh, it's right
I
there.
thought it was in my glasses.
No, I got it. There you go.
Thanks.
Yep.
What
What do you mean? What the hell's going on,
I don't
Bridget? What do
know.
you? What did I do? What did I do now? What the hell's going on? I don't know, Bridget. I really don't know what's going on.
We have to get out.
We got to
Again.
do. We do need to go do something. Someone had mentioned a place called Three Kids Mine, which is some
Mine.
Like, it's a mine that you could still get into, but it's like a bunch of artists have gone in and painted
Yeah.
it, decorated
Out
it.
by Lake Las Vegas.
Yeah, somewhere out there. I have to look it up. I'm trying to
We
figure
have a couple
out.
other places, but now it's too damn hot.
It
Man,
is.
this is
hot.
what happens is like when the weather is nice for a week and a half.
I haven't
like-
had a first date in. Oh, hi, Autumn.
Hi, Autumn.
Well, you're saying this is what happens.
That the weather is really nice and you want to go and do
Yeah.
things, and then like all of a sudden, like you just put it off, and the next thing you know, it's 95 degrees and you can't hike or do anything. Like now, it's going to be too hot to go down to any of the main.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to just be too hot now.
It is. It's
Trona Pinnacles. Is that in Arizona? What is that?
I don't know.
Is that a fruit salad? Like, it looks like pineapples.
It does. I don't know what that is.
So we have
Offensive line. Seahawks got an offensive lineman. If Sean's still paying attention,
well, and this is on a delay, so he
Damon
probably
Lewis.
already
He
knows.
probably already knows, but yeah, I don't know. It's the problem is now
How
is
late does
finding
this
some of
go?
the. We're in the third round, so we'll
And
get
the-
to whatever. We'll
the
get
end
to
of the
90,
fourth?
whatever pick 96 is.
Yeah,
Oh, Green Bay has the.
I didn't realize it was on
94.
so like late tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, side
Um,
note, we finished Person of Interest last night unexpectedly. We didn't even know it was the finale.
Oh, person of interest did in last
yeah,
night.
so that's
yeah.
the show we were talking about on Wednesday.
Yeah, ended last night, and it wasn't a good ending. I was
Well,
sad.
it was just surprised. I think like if we would have known that the ending was coming, maybe.
right.
But it just
I mean, you
was
kinda
like
see it
very
building up to it.
sudden, and
Yeah,
you get emotionally attached to these characters.
it's in Ridgecrest. That Trona Pinnacles.
Google
is in-
it.
yeah.
Okay.
Bridget asked if we thought that it's going to be crazy in Vegas when it opens up.
Mm.
You know what's funny about that? We have a drunk mayor.
Oh God! If anybody saw
If
that,
you haven't
that's
seen
such
that,
a disgrace.
She's a despicable human.
Yeah, but she's 81 years old.
Who cares?
Who knew? I did not know that Mayor Goodman.
Doesn't matter.
One, she's not our mayor because we don't live in
No.
Las Vegas proper.
No, but she's garbage.
She is the city of Las Vegas.
She should have never
mayor.
been voted in anyway. But that's what happens when all you Californians keep moving out here and trying to create the same system that you left.
Well, yeah, I think it's a little mobby.
Anyway, so there's a poll that went out about people and their willingness to go back into public. And I've seen it in multiple places, but the one that really stood out to me was about bars and restaurants. If the question was asked, if the state were to open up tomorrow, what is your willingness to go out? And 23% of people said they were willing to go out, act like nothing happened. Only 23%. That leaves 77% either undecided or not willing to go out.
And this is the thing, and this has been brought up a lot with this whole Mayor Goodman fiasco, is that even if all of the casinos opened, which she's not the mayor of the Strip, because the Strip is Clark County, it's county. So even if the Strip opened, you need people to go there. So one, not only we don't have enough locals to sustain and support the Strip.
No.
We don't have it. And everyone's broke anyways, because most of the cities like laid off.
Right.
But then you have to have people willing to fly in from out of town. Like, it's just, I mean, unless we open up the lake and we start allowing like a bunch of out of country tourists and we're flying in busloads of people, like, I mean, I just can't. Opening up the Strip does not solve the problem, because now you have operational expenses. Yeah. Like, because people are going back to work doesn't mean they're going to be getting their tips. It doesn't make sense.
Well, the other part of that too is Las Vegas is no longer revolved around the Strip as their sole source of income.
Right. There's more commerce here now.
There's a lot more commerce in the area. I think it would be more prudent of them to open up all of the small businesses that employ more people than the Strip. The Strip is going to be a cesspool when it opens up, and it's been a cesspool for years. That's not new. Like,
or open the restaurants on the Strip and see what happens. Like, maybe I
don't even think that.
I don't know if people are going to go to the Strip to go to the restaurants. We don't.
I don't know.
Living here, you don't go there. I mean, we don't. Maybe there are people that do.
I'm sure,
but
there's.
I would say that most people that live here don't go down to the Strip for an average dinner. It's probably an anniversary or a birthday,
right? But
it's not like we go down to the Strip to have Friday night dinner just because,
Right. Yeah. It's I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird
eventually
deal.
We'll get back to normal, just like it did after the recession, but it's going to be slow going. Maybe they only have a portion of their hotel towers opened up. There's still going to be layoffs. There's still going to be maybe a restaurant or two that's not open. I mean, there's definitely going to be a short-term and long-term impact, but it will eventually get back, I think.
It will.
I guess it's changed so much since I've moved. I moved out here in 2006, and it's just changed. The feeling of the town, I feel like the security of the town as well. And I'm in real estate, and we still have stuff and deals going on. So people are still moving here from California.
Right. There. Yeah.
And all over. But
I think the biggest problem we're going to have is consumer confidence. And I don't know that we are the right. And as much as that idiot Goodman wants to throw us to the wolves and become a control group, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It was
denied. I mean, she brought it up though, but it was denied, so it doesn't count.
So, right. So I can't even. Like,
we're not Vegas.
That's not my point. My point is that even though that conversation's out there, I don't think the general public is confident in our ability to continue the way it was right now. I don't
Not
think
the majority, but I think
majority of people are not comfortable returning to, as much as on Facebook you see people, oh, open it up, we're ruining our lives.
there was another protest today at the South Outlet Mall.
That's a small majority. And this is what
Right.
I've said about a lot of these things and a lot of problems we have in America. The loudest people are always the minority. They're always the minority.
Mhm.
You always hear that squeaky wheel gets the grease thing. That's what this
Like
is.
the media attention.
It's where the media attention's at right now. And the
Yeah.
attention is on the people who are screaming to open things back up. But I'm telling you right now, the consumer confidence is not there. It's not.
Mm-mm.
Based on all the polls, and not just here in Vegas. Like those polls exist all over the country. You can Google them.
Well, and
They're all out there.
I don't think that we live in a fear-based mindset. We just live in a cautious mindset, you and I. And so like when we go to the grocery store and stuff, like
That's
we're
now, though.
cautious. But even after this is done,
Right.
when I'm choosing to wear a mask and I'm choosing to wear gloves for the next 4 months, I don't know for sure, but I'm just saying if I choose to do that, that's not because I'm fear-based because of anything other than I don't want to get sick and I don't want to get anyone in my house sick. Like I don't want to spread things. Like it's not even, why not just be cautious? And that's the thing is a lot of these protesters are like, oh, you idiots are living in fear. And it's like, it's not even a fear.
Yeah,
Like
I'm not scared of any
if I
of it.
have a choice, my choice is I don't want to be sick and I don't want other people to be sick. You have a choice.
I don't even care. This is where I've said this from day one. I don't care if I get sick. I care if I get somebody else sick.
Right.
And to me,
but we still don't know the long-term effects.
We
Like
don't.
what if you get sick and you have liver damage?
well, and that's one of the things that's coming out now is there, and you read this, so you'd know better to speak on it than I would.
Oh, I don't do research though.
I said it's not your strong suit. I didn't say you don't do
Just
it.
kidding.
I
do read a lot. I just don't remember what I read.
that could be part of the problem. But there's definitely there are some long-term effects that we don't know yet. There are
Right.
people who have lost their taste and smell.
Short term. Some of them are short
Some
term.
are short term, but some of them they haven't returned.
Right.
Um,
There's these things coming out that kids might have corona toes. There's so much weird shit.
yeah.
Like there's just weird things. I don't know. There's just not enough information. I'd rather be safe. I don't care about the public. I mean, that didn't sound right. I don't care about interacting with the public a ton. I don't miss any. It's not like have like,
sorry.
I'm not missing going to bar. Here's the thing. If there are people out there that want to go to restaurants,
Mhm.
they should have the right to do that. Maybe not yet, but you give it a couple
Mhm.
weeks, you give it another 3 or 4 weeks. If they want to go out and do that, we would have to be
Yeah.
careful. And this is where I was reading this too with people that are, more susceptible to, getting sick. You have to choose to not go out, or you have to choose to take more precautions in when you're going out. But no matter what, there's still going to be those people that are out there that are spreading it and not protecting themselves and not protecting the public. You cannot depend on other people to do that for you. So if people want to go to a bar, they're going to go to a bar. Like you don't go to the bar, obviously, if you don't want to be exposed.
The only reason
I don't know.
I mean, I agree that people should have the right to go and put themselves in that situation if they choose. However, I don't agree because I think that mentality is what will cause this situation to be worse.
I agree with that.
I think that if I go out to a restaurant and I go out and do my normal life like nothing's wrong, I'm going to carry myself that way even when I'm interacting with somebody who might be at risk.
Right, but it's the person that's at risk.
No.
It's a responsibility to have the gloves and have the mask and do all of those things
I
and
don't
not
agree.
put themselves out there.
I don't agree.
I'm just saying that some of this other sides to it.
Right.
Just like right now, when we go to the grocery store, we don't know that the guy that's standing next to us in an aisle or behind us in line didn't just go and have a birthday party with 20 of his closest family members.
Right.
We don't know that. It doesn't
Right.
have to be, a bar or a restaurant. It could still happening right now. There's still people that aren't taking it seriously and they're still at parks and they're doing things. It's our responsibility to make sure that we're protected as much as we want to be protected.
Right. I agree with that. However, I do not agree that it is only the person who has some form of illness's responsibility to protect themselves. For example, there are people out there who are currently in situations that they may not even be aware of that could be an issue to their health.
Right.
Like, so there are people for just, let's say they have heart issues,
Mhm.
right? And they don't know they have an heart issue and they're out, right? They go out and they happen to run into somebody who's not taking precautions,
Okay.
right? Like there are
But the
people out
heart
there.
person, the heart person
Mhm.
wearing a mask and gloves, taking care
Sure.
of themselves, being protective.
I'm not saying they shouldn't. I just don't think, I think it's selfish and inconsiderate as a public and as a human to go out and act as if nothing's normal and disregard the people who are at risk.
Right. And I don't disagree
Right.
with you. I'm just saying this on like both ends of it is, but then there's the other people, the other side of it, where they feel that they should be able to go and do what they want.
This
It's,
is
it's
why
kind of two sides to it, right?
right. And this is why I've said from the beginning, I
You need a
have
bubble.
I have an issue with this entire situation from both perspectives because our freedoms and rights have been taken away.
Mhm.
And it's nonsense. It shouldn't happen. However, I also know that there are people out there who are at high risk who deserve better than for us to act like ignorant assholes.
Well, and they have to be, then they're going to be stuck in their house and not have the same freedoms because of a sickness or an underlying issue. And so, yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's not fair to them either. But
right, and that's one of those things. That,
I don't know how they're going to
I think
open this back up.
I don't know how they're going to open it back up.
I don't
not without
understand
confidence.
how people, they say, oh, like we don't have as significant corona deaths here in like Clark, Southern Nevada as other places, but it's because we closed down so fast.
Yeah, we jumped
ahead.
Yeah.
Now it's people are saying, well, why are we closed? There's nobody, we don't have that high of numbers. And it's like, I don't understand how people don't understand the correlation. I smell food outside.
It's 100% the right thing. We did the right thing in Nevada by
Please.
shutting down early and shutting down before people died. It shouldn't take people's lives. And this is the part that drives me absolutely crazy. I don't, you know what? You don't have, here's the thing that drives me nuts about it. We have more rights and more freedoms in this country to do any things we want 99% of our lives. It's very rare that these types of situations occur.
Right.
Right. And now we have to make a little bit of a sacrifice for the greater good of human life. And we're bitching about it.
Well, I read something today that
just drives me crazy.
This is an inconvenience.
And we're a bunch of spoiled brats who get our way all the time.
Why are you
because
yelling?
It's frustrating. Like there are people who cannot protect themselves enough. And yet we have people that just
not giving
don't
a shit about
care.
anything.
And it drives me crazy that we have people like that just don't care about anyone else.
And that's the thing. You can't control other people.
No,
though.
I know.
So, I mean,
but that's why this whole thing drives me nuts about opening back up. Like, what are we opening up for? So you could feel more comfortable? I don't.
Yeah, but some people need the income and the jobs. And
I get that.
I mean, it's it's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword. There are more important things in life than your life, like your income, not your life, like your pulse. That's not what I mean. Like your life is not more important than the next one. Like they're all equally important, and we don't see it like that. And that's part of where it's like, it drives me crazy because we should look at our neighbors and our family and our friends and think that their lives are just as important as ours. And we should do whatever we have to do to protect those people around us.
I get what you're saying, but like
I know.
not everyone feels that way. And it only takes like even a small portion of the population to go do whatever they want. Right. It's still going to be,
and it doesn't, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's just the part where I say that it's frustrating because there are two truths to this thing. Our rights and freedoms are being taken away. And it's unfortunate that that's happening. It is, but we're saving lives. Like that to me is more important than the rest of it.
Yeah.
And that's where I don't know that people are seeing that. I don't, but is it all a game? Probably. But at the same time, like I'm not willing to take that chance, and people shouldn't be either. Like
I need Green Bay to do a really good pick Their next one needs to be a really good pick
won't
because I
happen.
need you back. I need
It won't happen. I'm sitting here staring at this board. It doesn't look good for us at all.
every part of your Buddhism is like
Gone.
gone right now.
Gone. And,
Because of
and
Green Day.
all I want to do is,
You're gonna have to
I-
go
I'm gonna-
meditate after this.
I'm
Like I
gonna-
need you to like
I know. I
inhale
keep
some
scrolling between.
incense. I don't know what you're doing. So you have the other screen up with
Yeah.
with the football stuff,
Yep.
and you're just scrolling. You're like you just
No, it's going down where my pick is, or their pick. It's down here.
yeah,
And
but then
I-
you scroll back up.
I
and then
did.
you
I was
scroll down,
scrolling
and
because
it's
I was
like,
trying to see the grade and how
like,
bad we did.
man.
If you look at this.
Oh, I
C
see.
plus. Look at A C plus. Green Bay. Let's go up to the first round. You want to see the first round? This is a beautiful thing. It's the best grade they've ever gotten. Watch this. This is so stupid. It drives me
What were
absolutely
the-
crazy.
What number? There it is. Oh my god, they got a D.
D.
For Jordan Love.
They got a D.
Interesting.
That's insane. Anyway,
Well, that's a good way to end this.
yeah. So now that I'm back on the football thing, this is great. Anyway,
This is one of those times that I really wish we drank sometimes. It just really wants
You and me
a glass of
both.
wine. Oh,
you ain't kidding. I'm
let's go make dinner.
okay.
That's pretty
Yes.
relaxing usually.
I'm supposed to bake this week.
Yes. There's a thing with his sisters and brother.
I have to.
Oh, and your dad.
Yeah, I have
So
to
the
bake
whole-
something.
The whole Wallace family is doing a baking competition with upside down pineapple cake. Is that what it's called? Upside down pineapple cake.
Pineapple upside down.
Pineapple upside down cake. I knew it didn't sound right.
Yeah.
So pineapple upside down cake.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
oh, you're welcome, Brid. I am so glad that I planned this whole
good night, Gina.
evening of sports talk.
Yeah.
So
This is-
maybe
thi-
if I actually paid more attention and researched better, we could do like sports Fridays.
Football Fridays. We could.
Yeah,
We
but
can
I
do
like
sports.
all. I
No,
want to do more than just football.
Okay, we can do sports on Fridays. I'm all for that. Look here.
Damn it! I just cornered
Well,
myself into.
Yeah. Well, we can do it.
But there's not really
whenever.
anything going on right now. But I used to do on the original podcast. I used to do a true crime
Mhm.
kind of
Right.
podcast, but like I just don't have.
Well-
I mean, it's not. I still love it. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but I just don't have that same passion that I did a couple
Right.
years ago. For I mean, I was like,
Well, and
crazy.
the one thing that you don't tell most people is that she's been a sports fan. You
Yeah.
weren't a sports fan because of me.
no,
You were a sports fan before I came around.
yeah, I was a huge hockey fan.
You loved
way before
those like
I've played fantasy football for
those schmucks in LA.
15 years. Like, I mean,
The
I'm not
Prince.
saying I'm good at it, but I have gotten second place quite a few times. I've just never won.
So you were a hockey fan before. You're a Kings fan.
I was. Well, I
Right.
became a Kings fan because of my brother. So in 2009, I was going out to California a lot because my dad was sick. And so going out there, I would end up going over and hanging out with my brother. And he had season tickets to the Kings. And then I ended up buying a season ticket or partial season ticket and started going. And it was definitely my therapy. Like I needed that break from kind of life in general.
Right.
So man, I was pretty hardcore for a few years there.
Right.
Not that I don't love it now, but
sports, it's not that far of a stretch for you to get back into it. Like,
no.
You-
And I used to watch like Sports Center all the time. Like, I mean, I used to put sports on in the background for things. I
Right.
just think that life has changed in the like last few years. And I just haven't watched sports, especially with my previous job. I worked weekends.
Right.
I was working 7 days a week. So, I mean, it was just different.
yeah. So sports
So-
may be something that,
I do actually really love sports. I
Right.
just,
yeah, it's not a stretch for that to happen. I mean,
I've just out of touch a little bit. Like I don't know. I can't tell you players right now. I
Right.
can't tell you who has the best offense for
Well,
next
it's-
year.
the problem is with me, like, so I usually don't like, I'll watch the draft.
Mhm.
I'll watch the free agency period. But from the Super Bowl to the free agency period, I don't think or talk about football. Like it's done to me in my head. And then after the draft, I won't start looking at NFL until
Fantasy football.
maybe a week before the regular season. I'll watch a little bit of the preseason, or not regular.
You'll do research
preseason.
for fantasy.
I will. I do. So what?
Yeah.
Like a week or two before the preseason starts, I'll start getting back into it.
That's kind of when I start paying attention.
Yeah. So right now in my head, it's hockey season. So I'm still in that mode. So it's kind of weird to have no hockey and be watching
hockey
football.
Playoffs is like the
It's the
absolute,
absolute best.
I mean, there's just nothing
Anyway,
better.
Yeah, maybe we can do that. Maybe we'll start
So-
doing football Friday or fantasy. Oh, we do fantasy Fridays.
That
I mean, not
sounds like
really.
a
No,
whole
that's
different type of Friday.
Oh boy.
Just saying.
And then we have that. So we could. That's
Well,
something
I
we could
mean,
do.
there's like there's other things. I mean, there's other sports, and we could talk about bowling and competitive chess, and do,
we could.
there's all kinds of stuff.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, we could. I don't.
Let's see. Let's just kind of see.
Yeah, see what happens.
Let's see what happens the next week. That if there's even enough to talk about for Sports Fridays,
Right.
then
The league's opening back up. That conversation's wheels going right now. So that could be something. The draft will be done by then.
and do we need to do 3 days a week? Maybe we
No,
just
we were actually
condense
talking
this
about-
down to 2 days a
We're
week.
talking about doing 2 days a week. So we'll probably
One conspiracy day and catch up
figure
day.
out a way to
And
make
sports.
2 days. So we'll do like Monday, Friday things.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. Yeah. So instead of
Because
doing 3
then-
nights a week. Right.
Because it
yeah,
does start to feel. I mean, we just don't have as much to talk about.
Yeah,
Really.
Which, well, it's not so much that as
I
it
mean,
is.
We could both
it-
talk quite a bit.
We can. We've literally came into this talking about nothing.
We had nothing planned.
And this is,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been on for a minute.
right. So anyway, we'll be back on Monday. Right.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
you're the
All right.
boss.
Oh God.
I just show up unprepared.
So
with no
yeah,
research.
We'll be back Monday, and we'll figure out. We'll sort out the
We'll
details.
do first
of
date
whatever it
questions.
is. Oh boy. I'm glad
Get
you never
to-
asked me any of
Let's
them.
get to know each other better.
That sounds amazing.
I don't even know if we really had a first date.
We did. It was on our back patio.
I mean, that was when we met.
Yeah.
Was
we,
our
well, we
back
talked
patio.
for like 6 hours.
We did. It was a lot.
Yeah.
The first thing I remember doing with you was Life is Beautiful. No. Yep. Life is Beautiful. We caught the very tail end of it because you were working and didn't get off till like 11. And we went to Life is Beautiful and we saw, I don't remember, but we were only there for like an hour.
We saw that DJ that wears the big head
Not
thing.
Marshmallow. No. Skrillex.
Mouse.
No. I think it was Skrillex.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I honestly don't remember much of that period of my life.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And then
Okay.
we went and we put bet on horses. or
Anyways,
something.
all right. Yeah. So we'll see you guys on Monday. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, guys.